never really looked synchronized. They could not work as a well-oiled unit, as they call. And there we go. We're on with the game. It's already begun. It is Team Griffin on the left and Forge Your Legacy on the right. Of course, Ruben, eyes will be on him as to how he's going to deliver, get those early KOs, get those levels. And now Forge Your Legacy, like we said, they've got access to some solar beams. But the big question is, with Venusaur, is he going to go for the Giga Drain or the Petal Dance build, or is he going to go the other way around? We've seen, in the European meta, we've seen players going kind of in a mix of the two, right? We've seen them going for Petal Dance, then we've got, a Solar Beam also coming out. So that's going to be really interesting as well. But as it stands, a little bit of help coming in from Snowy early on, trying to maybe secure the 850 Ulterior Swap, which is going to be there in a little bit of time. As Ruben, oh, that's a bad kill.
Now those solar boings instantly coming up. Again, from the very start, Bull is trying to find a lot of values in Team Griffin. They want to take that early lead once again as what they were doing in the previous match itself. But still, Forge Your Legacy, they have to be very, very much, I would say, paying attention to it, because any time...
He says, thank you, sir.
That being said, Buzzwole went to go and get those Swablues and Altaria for himself, but instantly denied because Zacian with the Sacred Sword instantly pushing him back so that he doesn't come up forward to take the fight. But again, those Solar Boings coming up. Doc is still on level 3. He needs to level up as fast as possible. He's going for the stacks, but still, it is going to take him a little bit more time, while Nova, he can actually find a lot more value.
Oh, he certainly can, right? There's no second thoughts about it. And Doc, he's been quite impressive, to be honest. Despite the fact that Forge Your Legacy lost against True Gravity, his performance with Blastoise was quite remarkable. The way he was drawing that attention, on both the occasions that he played. But this time, we've got to see as to how he delivers. But for now, as things are kind of brewing up, you can see Mikey kind of trying to invade into the jungle, maybe get a buffer to something that could give them that little bit of an advantage. But looks like they've got some backup out there. Bot's taking some massive amount of damage as Team Griffin start racking up all those KOs. Leafeon already hitting level 8. That's massive.
Make it 9, level 9, and he has already reached, and that will make a lot of impact at this point. Already a 3-level difference at least we can see coming, comparison to Forge Your Legacy, but also not allowing the Buzzwole to go for the stack and complete it. It's going to make a lot more impact from the side of Team Griffin against Forge Your Legacy.
Oh, indeed it is. And right now, at this point, Forge Your Legacy getting off to a rough start, and they have to find a way back into the game, and Ruben needs to start delivering. He's been silent so far. He's been touted as one of those players to really look out for, and hasn't really given us that opportunity. And Team Griffin, they're enjoying themselves, right? Snowy also at level 8 at this point. All right, a little bit of a damage on Nova, but seems like he's not really bothered. Had that Solar Blade being charged a little bit more, maybe Ruben could have taken a little bit more extra damage. But now it's time for the top objective, which I believe is getting contested, as Mikey trying to stop them from doing so, as Leafeon getting knocks after knocks, as there you go, now starting to feel themselves. Illusion gets in a KO. Mikey really needs to back off a little bit, as Pura, I think at that point, Mikey did accept his fate there.
Oh, Buzzwole heals a lot of damage. Zacian is unstoppable at this point. Illusion, he's not making a single error. He's on level 9, goes with the Sacred Sword, instantly gives a good amount of damage to Walt, but he still managed to heal himself up. But still, the Regiliki is uncontested, but still, they did try to go up and take the fight, but couldn't find a lot more value.
Of course, the bottom objective, however, Team Griffin having more trouble stealing that Illusion in the midst of things, just slashing through his opponents and getting those 2 KO streaks. Will, of course, try to take down the first goal post there. And now they have eyes set on this Regiliki and applying pressure on the tier 2. And this is where Team Griffin, they love doing things, and they're quite methodical about it. They know when to take that Regiliki. They know when to apply that pressure. Now they've got access even towards the jungles, right? They can get those farms up on their Pokemons. And Team Griffin, they're looking as good as due.
Look at the difference they've already made. Level 11, Zacian, Leafeon, Glaceon we see coming up from their end, while still there is a good level difference that they're keeping up. Forge Your Legacy, what are their plans? We see Team Griffin again pushing the tier 2 goal zone against Forge Your Legacy. They have made a lot more impact. The Regiliki hits as well, and there will be a lot big scores coming up from the side of Team Griffin. make it to a 255 score mark. They can also go for a few more as Leafeon is going berserk.
Oh, indeed. It's not just them, right? The way they've been using their Unite abilities all in tandem to each other sort of has enabled Griffin to be off to a really good start. The mid game they've dominated. Forge your legacy. There's some sort of a magic trick that can get themselves back. But as things stand, right, Forge your legacy in a whole dire circumstance, they'll find something out. Taking down Snowy is a small little victory which they need to embrace at this point, need to sort of group up as a team and apply a little bit of pressure, which they're doing right now. Nova tanking up a massive chunk of damage, will go back, heal himself up, and now set their eyes on another bottom path fight where you can see Fura on the backlines trying to dish out some massive amount of damage. It is Leafeon barely surviving with a sliver of HP, but Darkness gets ripped apart there as Team Griffin, they're on fire.
Oh, look at the illusions. It's the Sacred Sword as well as the Solar Blade coming in the very same time. Deals a big amount of damage and not even giving a chance for the Mew to make an impact. He goes and commits the Unite instantly. They are desperate for this bottom lane objective at any cost, while Glaceon, he shuts down the Mew. The Verdant Anger came in and he secures the Regirock for the side of Forge Your Legacy.
Of course, a little bit of a silver lining, must say, for Forge Your Legacy. And yeah, Furia, like I said, he is their last hope. If something needs to be done, it has to be him. He needs to deliver at this point. As Forge Your Legacy still struggling in terms of the goals scored, as Team Griffin starting to, apply that extra little bit of pressure on them, despite the fact they lost the bottom objective does not really concern them because the levels, look at that. Leafeon already hitting 13. We've got Zacian already on 13. Snowy might as well hit 13 really soon, as now there you go. The damage amount is insane, and Darkness just left stranded as Illusions just dives into right onto its stock. We've got Wolf, has that little bit of gravity there with the Moonlight, trying to give them that heal, but Snowblade, in fact, the Grass Blade just comes in and gets the secure on that Regilicki as Fura tries to, soak in some damage, respond back with a Solar Beam of his own, but to no avail.
333, Team Griffin is making a huge impact, and I would say thanks to that kind of early stack that didn't happen, or burst goal, they prevented it so brilliantly that is giving a lot more fruitful situation for the side of Team Griffin to play and perform at their best. But that being said, the Regilicki will be stopped by the side of Forge Your Legacy, but now they have to focus on the final stretch. Just 25 more seconds in their hand.
The 25 more seconds, and this is where, Darkness has left us wanting for more, right? Every single time you get to see, right, just before the fight begins, the buzz wall is done and dusted. Really not being able to contribute a lot into this fights, and Team Griffin, they're benefiting out of that. I think they're showing the world how Zacian, if given on the right hands, can be played. That massive amount of damage coming through Forge Your Legacy, they will surely be trying to force out this final Rayquaza fight. But for now, Team Griffin, they will be looking to defend it with all their might.
There's a good level difference from the side of Team Griffin, but oh my god, they're trying to put up a lot of good show, and definitely the Slowbro goes down as the first one, but Team Forge Your Legacy, they want to take this control, and the Unite coming up from the side of Leafeon. It does make a good connection, but could not find a lot more value. The Koopa also unleashes the rings and bounce.
Heal themselves back, and it's going to take a little while, as now this is the time where perfectly the gank has begun once again. As you can see, the boss wall really going after Illusion and maybe Mikey at the same time, and now he's starting to heal themselves. Now Forge Your Legacy, they've got that slight advantage, but they really need to capitalize because they've got that window within 8 seconds. They need to deal with it, otherwise Team Griffin, they're going to be back with all their force, all their might, and might just want to contest for it. Mikey's still hovering around, does not have his Unite move, but we still have Zacian in the mix, as now Rayquaza is starting to fall slowly but surely. The Solar Beam will be there for the secure as Forge Your Legacy do get the Rayquaza again, but now they also need to score along with it, and that is exactly what they're doing.
At least a score of 500 should be coming up from the side of Forge Your Legacy, as amount of chaos energy that they have for themselves, but still Team Griffin keeping the lead. Trying to break the shield should be the best strategy, but at that being said, Forge Your Legacy takes the lead. They're still trying to push Team Griffin to the limits. That one I would say the factor that was playing the level difference was completely denied in the final stretch, as the way they have made the comeback, it's literally mind-blowing.
It indeed is, right? Forge your legacy coming from the backlines. We said only a miracle could get them back, and those little mistakes from Team Griffin being capitalized as Forge your legacy. This time, we do not see them having any hiccups at all, as all those scores keep on pouring as they win game number one. Team Griffin, after having such a solid start, messing things up in that Rayquaza fight, losing two of their most farmed Pokemons, sort of has eventually ended up in their defeat. As for your legacy, win game number one. What a show by these lads.
You look at the stats and it says everything. Goal, illusion, 8 and 9 KOs respectively, 17 assists coming up from Mike and 10 from the side of Snowy as well. It was a complete intact team game coming up from the side of Team Griffin once again, as what they were doing in the previous one as well. But Forge Your Legacy, that final stretch once again made the flip possible, and they will be walking away with a 1-0 lead in this BO3 series.
You know, this is unbelievable, right? This is one of those matches where I really still feel could go towards game number 3. Now, Team Griffin, they were doing everything by the book. They were doing everything.
The early stacks were not done because he was oppressed a lot more times. But that being said, is this going to happen once again? Because Team Griffin, they're a lot more familiar with the blazing play.
You know, Team Griffin, now the pressure is starting to build upon them, right? Just one game away from their journey getting over, whilst Forge Your Legacy, one game away from getting that redemption matchup against Team True Gravity. It's going to be really interesting this time as to what they can put on the table. Of course, the drafts have been done. Both have their own flaws and the merits, but we're going to see how it's going to pan down towards the end. It's all about execution, right? We did get to see a nice glimpse of it towards the end, but off you're on. With the second game, it is Team Griffin on the purple side, whilst Forge Your Legacy are on the orange.
Important game for the side of Team Griffin, as we mentioned earlier. It's a do or die for them. The next two matches, even if they win this one, the next will be the decider that will decide which team will go forward. But eventually, again, Forge Your Legacy wants to make sure that the early stacks are not being done by Leafeon, but still, Leafeon is on a different way, while the Torchic will be just going and trying to complete his stack alongside Wall, to there to support him as much as possible, as Darkness tries to make a fallback.
Oh, certainly does. Now, it's all about, getting that early farm, trying to get all those neutral Pokemon, and especially if you can get your opponents one, you'd be even more happier, right? Especially all these, Pokemons, if they can secure that, get those early levels up, because Team Griffin, the last game, they did everything right till the very end, right? Who was still impressive with the Leafeon. So I'm kind of excited to see. Doc, he's been one of those players that has really impressed me with the way he's been playing, right? Umbreon, he seems to be quite comfortable, maybe not this time, as he's caught wandering off in the enemy lands, finally gets taken down, and he falls. But looking at the levels, right, you can see Fura again, being on level 5, surely will be turning into Venusaur in no time, as now both these teams are contesting for the Alterias and the Swablues, and seems like Griffin again off to a nice start.
Griffin has always been that one team who has a big control over the early games, completing their stacks, finding a lot more KOs for themselves, keeping themselves having a good level difference as compared to the other teams. That always made a huge X factor, and even now we see both of the players, like Leafeon and the Glaceon, has already evolved to level 6, which can make a difference in the mid game as well.
Oh, it certainly can, right? It's all about the end game that I'm worried about, Team Griffin, right? You have those nerves there, and it is LAN, you're playing again in front of a lot of audience out there. So you've got to be a little careful, but I kind of like how Team Griffin, they're kind of spreading out, getting as much farm as possible, while Forge Your Legacy kind of being restricted a little bit. But, if the similar sort of a storyline repeats, we know how things end, right? With that little Moonlight, it will manage to escape, gets that little pace buff. But for now, it's all about waiting till that 7-minute marker. You kind of see those Ultimate moves coming up. In no time, you will see all those team fights breaking out. But for now, it's Illusion trying to apply a little bit of that damage on Wall, as they would be hoping that Fura evolves into Venusaur ASAP, which is done.
Oh, this Solar Beam is going to hurt. All those Swablues and Altaria went in the side of Team Griffin, as it seems. But again, Forge Your Legacy, This time again, they're having a problem with that level difference. We see the Glaceon on level 9 from the side of Team Griffin and level 8 Leafeon, which can again make a lot of difference. Still, Ruben trying to go with a snipe shot, it seems, and try to give a lot of damage. Though both the objectives in the
Oh
bottom
my
and top
god.
lane has already came up, and a lot more damage is being done by Ruben this time.
Indeed, and he's gone for the snipe shot build. We were kind of confused if it's going to go for the liquidation, but with that snipe shot, you've got that steal also coming into the fray, and we did see the kind of damage he could inflict on Snowy there. Forgeo Legacy having no trouble whatsoever getting this Regieleki, will try to apply that pressure on their tier 1 top and has managed to dunk it in also. They're kind of hoping that they get all their scorings right, as Illusion trying to fend off the attack, whilst the bottom objective seems like Snowy wants to contest with it.
I believe it's going to be easy contention or easy uh, getting that bottom objective for themselves. But again, there's a not big difference between both the teams as it was in the previous match. This time again, for your Legacy, they have made up. They're trying to close that level difference that was there between both the teams by securing those objectives. But once again, they're not even letting Team Griffin to go with those scores.
Yeah, at this point, right, all that Forgeo Legacy want to do is kind of be in the fray, right? Really do not want to give away a huge lead to Team Griffin. Of course, they've gone off to a good start, but we know on those late games, especially if you were having all that farm, instead using that Verdant Anger will hit on that slow bro, but he manages to escape as Team Griffin finally come into the fray, trying to get those KOs, and it will be Illusion getting one. But now you can see Darkness, he's on the prowl, he was on the chase. Mikey a little astray from his teammates. Well, there was a moment where we thought that Darkness might just dive in, but eventually kind of retreated. So a little bit of an awkward fight kind of happening out there. But still, if you look at the levels, and I really feel that Team Griffin still has that slight advantage. The Emerald 2-step being used, the Solar Beam also being used by the Venusaur, but to no avail.
I really thought that he's going to face that KO, but instantly Mikey came in as a savior, just gave him the healing that he's in the need for desperately. But 15 more seconds for the Regieleki to pop up, and this time again Forgeo Legacy will have their eyes on it. Not letting it slip away should be the best decision, but if Team Griffin invades and tries to steal it, I really wonder how are they going to defend against it.
At this point, Snowy is starting to look a lot scary as Forgeo Legacy again trying to secure another Regieleki, which indeed they will, and now trying to apply some pressure. Of course, it's going to be Mickey trying to heal his teammates, keep them intact as the Bliss assistance does not really work out as Darkness gets dealt with. Now Fura could be next as Illusion getting a little ahead there, but they know what needs to be done. They need to get that scoring up, and falls down the Umbreon. Doc again going down. This is not really looking good for Forgeo Legacy.
Even after the Regieleki has got a hit on the tier 2 goal zone on the top lane, Forgeo Legacy doesn't even have a scope to go and get the scores done. Now, I really believe that Forgeo Legacy, as they have already faced two, I would say, damages, big damage, that both of the tier 1 goals on the top and bottom lane has been breached. Now, the only factor that can help them is to get those all objectives in their favor.
And look at Snowy, that amount of damage again. The Verdant Anger coming through. Walk on really low HP. He gets KO'd as now Doc trying to control this area right now. He's on really up the sliver of HP. That Solar Beam doing massive damage to Snowy as he gets picked off, as Mikey will also be put to rest as Darkness gets dealt with. Both these times, both these sides being quite unfazed with what's really happening as Team Griffin, they're kind of on, the beneficial side, as now they will lay their hands on the Regirock, and I don't see a world where Vulcan managed to steal that. Will receive some assistance from Doc as he comes through the Solar Gate, goes in, and there you have it, getting the buff. Also their defenses and special defense kind of getting boosted up for a little while as Team Griffin again looking really solid, but it is that final stretch that I'm really worried about.
Again, we have seen the flips coming up, 50 more seconds to go, but this time Team Griffin, I really believe they will be prepared for any kind of counter-attacks coming up from the side of Forgeo Legacy. This time, they don't have a Buzzwole to worry about, but they do have a Blaziken, out of which we have seen Team Griffin coming up with the big counter-attacks and always pressing that one Pokemon.
Indeed, and look at that. Oh my god, Darkness cannot afford to get KO'd from here as the snipe shot comes in heavy onto its Mickey. Ball trying to go in. Both these teams vying out for this. Cannot really use that Unite move as now, again, Forge Your Legacy. They will lay hands on the Regiliki as it goes down to the tier 2. Now, this is a golden opportunity for Forge Your Legacy. If they can get a 50 scored out there, and I think they're going to give them the access to that. Maybe Darkness, he's got his eyes on that, but he needs to understand that Snowy is hiding in the tall grasses as the Rayquaza finally appears.
Oh, that 100 will be dunked as Forge Your Legacy wants to take the lead away. But will the Glaceon allow the Blaziken to breach through him, because he has got a big responsibility? But as it seems, everybody from the side of Team Griffin had the focus on the Blaziken. He becomes the first Pokemon from the side of Forge Your Legacy to get completely shut down. While Venusaur, he will be trying to push it as much as possible, and Mew comes up with a Mystical Mirage.
Oh, indeed, and now the fight is already broken out. The Verdant Anger also comes in. The Solar Blade doing massive amount of damage out there as one after the other. The Pokemons of Forge Your Legacy, they're falling down. The Bliss Assistance not enough as Pura needs to heal himself back, as now Team Griffin lay their eyes on this Rayquaza. Surely they do not want to miss it. Surely they want to push for the final stretch. Surely they want to score, but Darkness coming back in time, trying to hold things off as Pura just waiting in for the steal as Rayquaza on really low HP, Snowy going in for Pura. That Solar Beam is enough to take Illusion down, maybe with the follow-up as Leafeon falls down. Things are getting really nasty, really rough as Wall somehow trying to survive is unable to do so as that snipe shot putting that Rayquaza to real low HP. But who gets the better side? It is going to be Forge Your Legacy coming in with that steal. And now they go on to the grand finals, marching their way through. What a final game it was.
A 200 more score coming up from the side of Forge Your Legacy, and they have really forged what they dreamt of in the start of Pokemon Unite India Open 2023 as we witness the mighty Team Griffin getting down and out of this tournament, as we will be having our second grand finalist, which will be none other than Forge Your Legacy.
Oh my god, what a fight that was. In fact, could just argue to say that this was the best fight of the evening so far. Both these teams, moving shoulder to shoulder with each other, the way they kind of presented themselves, it was all about those decisions they made towards those end, and that assassination attempts there, those snipes coming through, that was so impressive as Forge Your Legacy stays their comeback once again and go on to face true gravity in the grand finals in style.
That one final stretch, again, that one loophole that was given away by Team Griffin was completely capitalized by the side of Forge Your Legacy. This time they did not make any kind of mistakes. For 1 second fixes, I really thought that Forge Your Legacy, by amount of the chaos that was secured by Team Griffin, will be faltering on maybe this round or this match.